one of the things that I hear often from constituents is a general erosion of trust in institutions. And being a part of the ethics committee and having dealt with a whole host of questions around the conduct of public office holders and some of the perceived challenges that exist that have led to that erosion of trust, and with the situation where the former interim commissioner was announced, and it was quickly revealed of a close connection with a senior Liberal cabinet minister, and that she did the right thing and stepped down, which was important to not eroding that trust further. But the fact that happened, and what was certainly seen by many, and I heard a lot about it from constituents, a poor judgment on the part of the Prime Minister. And the Act clearly articulates that there has to be consultation for the appointment of a commissioner, but not an interim. And that's certainly something that needs to be addressed. And as I was preparing for this meeting, and I as well looked at your CV, and you have an exemplary record of public service. But just because this is a question that I'm asked often by constituents, and it's about some of those conflicts of interest that are perceived to exist. So I almost hate to have to ask you this, but to just make sure that it's on the record about if you have a connection to the Trudeau Foundation, a relative of a cabinet minister, an in-law of a cabinet minister, or some of those other very, very high-profile connections that have cast doubt on some of the other situations that have contributed to this erosion of trust. So, Commissioner, I'm hoping you can comment and just put on the record exactly and to clear up if you have any of those connections that have led to, in part, some of that erosion of trust that's taken place.
To my knowledge, I have none. I have been retired for 10 years. Obviously, I have, prior to retirement, been involved with a lot of people in government, in both parties, etc. If for some, and some of them were, most of them were business relationships, a few were also personal. Should one of those come up in any other case, I will have no hesitation whatsoever to immediately recuse myself and designate somebody else to deal with it. And it would be another one of the commissioners. Let's say I would ask the commissioner of lobbyist registration or somebody like that, some another servant of parliament like me, to basically deal with this, because it's I would doubt there was something will arrive, but who knows? You know, I certainly am prepared to do that. It was the same thing with when I was judge. You know, there was one case. My daughter was articling for the firm. She wasn't on the case, and I said right away, forget it. Assign it to somebody else. I don't want it even come up. You know, if there is the inkling of conflict of interest, I, as Commissioner of Ethics, have to lead by example. There can be no question of anything. And I don't even want somebody to be able to raise a point. I will immediately take it off the table.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I wish that we would have been able to have these conversations 7 months ago, and appreciate your candidness in answering that question. Commissioner, one of the things that we heard from now your office is that there are a number of scenarios, investigations, and files, and you mentioned some of the challenges around the Act and in terms of not having a delegate and whatnot. That things sit on the commissioner's desk even when a commissioner is not there, and so I'm curious. That 7-month delay, that's a long time for an office to be vacant, especially an important one like this. So, and I think I have about 30 seconds left. I'm just wondering if you can tell the committee just how you plan to make sure that erosion of trust I talked about before, in terms of that 7 months of vacancy, how are you going to work to make sure that can be cleared up?
First of all, the backlog will be gone. Again, most of it was trivial. The thing that isn't trivial, I will deal with. I'm known for being efficient and quickly in making the decision. I don't sit on decision for months, and you know, I think very much time is a very valuable commodity, and if you don't take a decision, it corrodes. And if something's hanging over somebody's head, etc., let's deal with it rather than let a reputation corrode because there's no action. So you can be sure that will be done. In terms of trust, I think the biggest thing, and I said that in all my opening remarks, is to be transparent, to explain the process, not hide behind some rules and say, I can't say, no, I'm sorry. If I can't tell you, I will tell you why and what's the rationale was, etc. So people understand it and say what I'm doing, etc. Not because we're trying to hide something, but we're trying to protect somebody or somebody's reputation, etc. Or the rules do not allow, etc.
Thank you.
I think it's key to any confidentiality when you invoke them, that you explain the context, the rationale, and also explain if or when when it can be lifted or pierced or whatever the case may be, what's the situation, what you know. That's and when I have something to say, I will share it with you. Like if one of your colleagues asked me, and I said, look, you heard me. I said, let's not pussyfoot around. That's the point.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I do that on purpose.
Thank
I want
you.
to make sure that people understand I have nothing to hide.
Thank you, Commissioner. I gave you a little bit extra time there because I thought the response was very important to the